Everybody, I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together,
we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics.
Week 12 of the college and NFL season is officially in the books, and I shed a tear each week as it passes by, man.
Yeah, it's almost to the end.
You wait so long for it to come, and it goes by just like that.
Right.
But we do have some standout players from the past week in the NFL. We're also going to go over our BCS rankings, a.k.a.
Bullcrap standings.
All right. And we got our top 5 teams in the NFL and also our NBA power rankings.
Shout out, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. Y'all eat that turkey up for me. I'll be by your house, make me a plate or something. All right, so I want to start with my offensive standouts, the quarterback position. I have 2 players. I normally have one. I have 2 players that's worthy of a shout out. First off, I'm going to go Phillip Rivers. 392 yards, 3 TDs in the victory versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Many said it couldn't be done, and Phillip Rivers, you did it. He also had a great game, but he played good in the clutch, too, that last game-winning drive.
Yeah, comeback player of the year, I think.
Hands down, by far. And again, if it wasn't for Peyton Manning, we'll be talking about Phillip for MVP.
Absolutely.
All right, my next up, I want to go Tom Brady. That game started rough for Brady.
Right.
It started rough. You got down 24-0, but him being the fighter and the competitor and the warrior that he is, he had an awesome second half. He ended up with 344 yards, 2 touchdowns in the victory over the Broncos. And in that same game, as I go over the running backs, we had a great game from Mr. Knowshon Moreno.
Right, from Georgia.
Yeah, I normally don't shout out players on the losing team, but you definitely deserving of a shout out. 37 attempts, 224 yards, 1 touchdown.
Probably the best game of his career.
Exactly the best game of his career. He's on pace to have the best season of his career. He's on pace for over 1,200 yards. All right, and my wideouts. Again, I normally don't shout out losing players, but this is definitely deserving of a shout out. Josh Gordon.
Right, great game.
Great game. He's always one of my up-and-coming wide receivers to watch. Review the tape already, put that out there. 14 receptions, 237 yards, and 1 TD. The Cleveland Browns certainly has a building block out there at the wideout position in Josh Gordon. And also, for Tampa,
yeah,
Taquan
Underwood.
Mr.
High top fade.
Mr. High top fade, man. You only had 3 catches, but 108 yards, and 2 of them went for touchdowns.
Must have been Richard Gatewood with all that training.
Hey, shout out to Rick Gatewood. Shout out to Taquan Underwood. You had a good game there. Now, what about you on the defense side of the ball?
On defense, we had a lot of standout players, but I want to start off with first one of my favorite DNs in the league, Cameron Jordan.
Okay.
All right, from the Saints, 3 tackles, 2.5 sacks. Week in and week out, he brings it. Helped him win, obviously, against the Falcons, 17-13. And I think as the years go on, he will be considered maybe top 5 DN.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a no-name guy now, but keep watching the tape, and you'll see him on there every week. So shout out to Cameron Jordan. Good game, obviously, this last week. Next player, I don't like to shout out my teammates, for my team too much, but when they do good, I got to say something. Lavonte David. Right? Linebacker, 9 tackles, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. Pretty solid game. I think it's a Pro Bowl year for him, and he's showing he has the Derrick Brooks in him. So hopefully he can continue that. Nice, obviously, stat line for him to help the Bucs get that 3rd straight victory in a row after starting 0-8. So shout out to you, Lavonte David. And then number 3, linebacker, Von Miller. So eat it up. So even though you lost the game, you had a great game individually. 6 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and then you did pick up that 60-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So you can't really ask for the guy to do any more. They lost 34-31, but obviously Von Miller was gone earlier with the suspension. He's back. So if they want to make a key run, they're going to have to really lean on him to make the Super Bowl. So shout out to Von Miller. Great game for you. Now I want to shift over real quick to the BCS,
a.k.a.
the Bullcrap standings.
Okay.
So we'll start off number 1. Still the same team it's been all year, Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. A.J. McCarron now, with all Mariota with his problems, Famous Jameis with his problems, Bryce Petty with his problems.
Mm-hmm.
He might be the front runner now for the Heisman, and I think he deserves it.
It's starting to look like it.
It's starting to look like it. He will be the first player to win 3 championships ever, in one player. So you're looking good. You're looking to Auburn. This obviously coming up weekend, the Iron Bowl. So this will be a time for A.J. McCarron to show if you can really beat someone with a great defense, maybe almost as good as yours.
Smart.
So shout out to Alabama. Number 2, Florida State.
Okay.
Famous Jameis, right? We got a lot of controversy for him. They said the results are going to come out in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Hopefully everything ends up being okay on his side. They got the Gators coming up, who can't even beat a normal
Georgia Southern.
Can't even beat a team like that, and they didn't even have one pass in the whole game. So
where they do that at?
I have no idea.
Florida.
So Florida, I guess. So obviously, Will Muschamp, you're on the way out, and this should be a game that Florida State rolls, maybe by 30 or 40, maybe even 50. So shout out to Florida State. Number 3, Ohio State.
Okay.
We keep talking about them. Maybe they're overrated, but think this.
They inching closer and closer.
Closer and closer, but Urban Meyer's undefeated in 2 years, and they're 1 game away from a 2-year season with no losses. So that has to count for something. And they play Michigan, and Michigan's down this year, so don't expect them to pull any upsets off this weekend. Ohio State will roll them. And if it comes down to it, if Auburn can't beat Alabama, they're going to be the team on the outside looking in, wishing that they were in the Natty. But they'll probably go to a Rose Bowl, and if they take care of business there, that's nothing to cry about at all. Number 4, Auburn. The surprise team may be in the top 10. You're going to the Iron Bowl. They were saying, Charles Barkley on TV was saying they already got 500 RVs rolling through, parking a week before the game even started. So that shows you the impact.
Hey, watch out for Webb, the QB of the Auburn Tigers there, man. If you haven't watched him play a game this year, he's something special.
And Trey Mason, too, running back. He's solid. They're second, I think, in the nation in running. He's got 17 touchdowns already at the running back position. So if Auburn does pull off the upset, I think Trey Mason will have a big part of that. So shout out to Auburn. Number 5, Missouri. They're still there.
Jimmy
Whitaker.
Jimmy.
So Missouri, you're still there. You're hosting Texas A&M, and this may be Johnny Football's last regular season game that we ever see him. So nice game to watch, and we'll see if Missouri can keep it up as we move forward. Number 6, we have Clemson. Tigers.
They're still hanging around.
We got Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, a nice little duo. They do play South Carolina, who is in the top 10. So we'll have to see if they can keep up with Steve Spurrier and all his little tricks that he has and
his gadgets and his plays.
Right. So
also, that one dude played for them, don't he?
Which one?
The defensive lineman dude, the number 1 pick?
No, I forgot his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is it Jadeveon Clowney, but we don't talk about him anymore.
Next team.
Yeah, next team there. So next team we got to go up, Oklahoma State. Number 7.
Okay. Big win.
Big win. Yeah. They've been rolling teams like Baylor, and they're showing that they are for real. So they might be in for a nice BCS game. They're 10-1. So
yeah, I remember they lost that first game of the year, and everybody was like, "Oh, what's wrong with Oklahoma State?" But they on a nice little stretch now.
Yeah, and they're better than Oklahoma. Who would have thought? So that's how football goes. So shout out to Oklahoma State. You're sitting at number 7. Number 8, you have Stanford Cardinal. The team that probably likes the fact that Oregon slips up, and then they can move back up. They made a spot, obviously, in the Pac-12 North. They won it. They're going to go to the Pac-12 championship against Arizona State.
I don't want no Rose Bowl. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I got into Josh Hush mode.
Yeah, right. But Stanford, you got Notre Dame, obviously, this weekend. They're not that good this year, but they compared to last year, they're still a solid top 25 team, but they obviously have some pieces missing, like Manti Te'o, and it's showing that it really hurts for that squad. So I don't know if Notre Dame will be able to keep up, but it should be at least an entertaining game for the first half. Number 9, Baylor Bears. You got kind of taken advantage of in that game. I think they thought they would just be able to go in there on the road and obviously take care of business against Oklahoma State, but sometimes that offense that scores
that way.
60
it's football, man.
It's football. Sometimes you can't score 60 points a game,
right.
But you're still a solid team. You only have one loss. You have TCU. You'll take care of business there, and then you'll make yourself a nice BCS game. So nothing to be ashamed of in that loss. And then number 10, Steve Spurrier, South Carolina.
They're back.
Right, they're back. They're 9-2. You got Clemson on the weekend, so it'll be your chance to see if you can shift yourself up higher in the BCS. Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins are going to be hard to deal with, but if anyone can take care of business, it's Steve Spurrier. Eventually, he'll get your number, and he'll make the right plays. So that's the BCS top 10. Let's actually shift over to NFL. What about the NFL power rankings?
Northwest Sports Fanatics top 5 teams, our power rankings. We had a shake-up there. Some of the top teams lost. First off, we're going to stay here in the Northwest and go with the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, they're sitting pretty at 10-1, the best record in the NFL. They do have the big game coming up this Monday night against the Saints,
right.
And they just lost Browner and Thurman.
Seattle
at secondary,
right? Seattle Cheathawks.
That's what they're saying there. But we'll see how good and how much depth they got there. Two big members contributing from the Legion of Boom are going to be out. So we'll see how that turns out there. And you got Drew Brees coming in with all of the weapons he has. Number 2, we're going to go to New Orleans Saints. They sitting at 9-2.
Brees!
Yeah, Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they continue to roll. Enough said. That's self-explanatory there. But number 3, the Carolina Panthers.
Moving on up.
Wow. Mr. Cam Newton.
Right, stretch it. Superman.
Okay, you finally getting it this year, man. And one thing that people might not know out there, the Panthers have 3 straight fourth quarter wins where Cam Newton has led them down to either kick a field goal or score a touchdown.
It's that third year, the progression.
Salute to Cam Newton, man. I'm proud of you, man. I always had you back. Number 4, we're going to go with the New England Patriots.
Mr. Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Do I need to say any more?
No.
All right. Number 5, they lost their second game of the year. I still think they do have a solid team, but I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. 9-2. You still sitting pretty there in the lead for the AFC West title.
Right.
Peyton had a tough game in the wind. 20 miles an hour wind blowing. That's gonna hurt anybody's passing there.
And they were saying also if the Denver Broncos do make the Super Bowl, can Peyton even play in the cold? It's going to be out in the Giants and Jets Stadium there, so we don't know if that'll even happen.
So we'll keep an eye on that. And it was Peyton Manning's first loss in his career when he was leading by 24 points or more.
Wow, ouch.
All right. So what about you? Let's go over to college and check out some of our games to watch this weekend.
So there's a few games to watch. The best game all weekend is going to be number 1 Alabama versus number 4 Auburn.
Of course,
right? The Iron Bowl in Auburn. They're RVs have been lined up all week. It's jam packed. I was hearing a cheap ticket, a bad ticket, is running about $500. So just imagine how much the good tickets cost. You're probably looking at $2,000-$3,000. So amazing game. It's on at 12:30 at CBS. Stay tuned. Like I said, if you're going to look for Alabama, if you're an Alabama hater, and you're looking for them to lose so you can move up in the BCS, that's the one team I think that might actually have a chance to win against Alabama. Next game, Texas A&M at number 21 versus number 5 Missouri. Johnny Football. It's one of his last games. It's fun to watch.
I'm going to miss you, man.
He might come back, but it's very unlikely. Like I said, 4:45 ESPN. Stay tuned if you want to watch an excellent quarterback on that college level. And like I said, we might be seeing him on Sundays real soon next year. Next game, number 6 Clemson versus number 10 South Carolina. Right, the battle of the teams in the top 10 in the BCS. Who's going to come out on top? More than likely, I think if I had to lean towards a team, even though I'm kind of on them all year, I would have to say Clemson, just because they're starting to put it together, even though they're on the road. That's on at 4 at ESPN2, but it'll be a good matchup. South Carolina always fights under Spurrier, so they have a lot of pride themselves, too. And then just one tiny shout-out, Civil War up here in the Northwest is huge. So Ducks and Beavers, we're playing, obviously, coming up here Friday, a couple days away. They're on at 4 o'clock. It's unusual. Normally the games are on Saturday, so Friday, might be a little different for, a lot of people to get used to. But Oregon State versus number 13 Oregon. We're going to try to rebound our season, and hopefully we can come out with some type of BCS game after the victories and after the teams lose in the top 10. So we'll see where they go from there. What about NFL? Any good games to watch in the NFL?
NFL, we got some great games this weekend in the NFL. Of course, it's the holiday, so we got 3 games on Thanksgiving there. The early morning game is the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Detroit coming off the loss last week to
Tampa,
to your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Salute on that win. And Green Bay is coming off a loss as well. They just officially announced that they're going to start Matt Flynn, which is the right thing to do. I think he gives them the better chance to pick up a victory.
It hurts me to watch Green Bay with no Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's just not the same, man.
No.
Come on, Mr. Discount.
Double check.
You got to get it back, man. You got to get back. The afternoon game is going to be the Oakland Raiders versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys just picked up a real important win for them in their season. The Oakland Raiders lost a heartbreaker to the Tennessee Titans, but they're still out there putting up a fight. So they should have a nice, enjoyable game for you guys to watch there tomorrow. And the nightcap. Just not a couple of weeks ago, we was laughing at these two teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Starting to move up, getting a little hot.
They're starting to move up with Cincinnati's inability to move away from these teams, so they're keeping it close. Pittsburgh sitting at 5-6, and the same as for Baltimore. So going into the last couple of weeks, hey, it's anybody ball game out there in that division.
Not bad for Pittsburgh, also starting 0-6, and then now you're actually winning games. So Big Ben is starting to put it together.
That's right. And on Sunday, we got to go the Arizona Cardinals versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a big game for the Cardinals. They're sitting at 7-4. They're on a nice little 3-game winning streak. And for the Eagles, they have to keep pace with Dallas in that NFC East for them to be able to make the playoffs there. So check that game out on Sunday. And also round 2, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, who is it?
Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
The second game in a matter of 3 weeks, quick turnaround for them. Denver won the first game, of course, but let's see how KC responds there at home in Arrowhead, which can get pretty loud. And on Monday night, the best game probably of the year, the New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
Great game for the Monday night. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Rex Ryan defense, Rob Ryan defense, flying around. And you also got Seattle's great defense led by the Legion of Boom.
Yeah. Well, their legacy is a little tainted, though. So we'll have to see if they can really show that they're good enough to compete without cheating.
So let's see how that depth looking, man. You know, Earl Thomas is going to come to play as well as Richard Sherman. So those are some of our key games to watch this weekend. Now let's go to the NBA. We're in the third week of the NBA. You know, some teams are starting to take form. What about our top teams in the NBA right now?
All right, so Northwest Sports Fanatics NBA Power Rankings. We're a few weeks in, so we got to see a few of the teams now and how they're playing. Number one, I'm going to go Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
All right, a lot of teams and a lot of people on other websites, they might have the Spurs, and they deserve it. But I think the Pacers overall a little bit better of a team from top to bottom. You know, they've rolled the Knicks, the Celtics, the Sixers, and the T-Wolves last week. A lot of those teams obviously are under 500, but they're finding a way to win in different ways each night. So I like that. Paul George and Roy Hibbert, nice 1-2 combo. I don't really see them slowing down, and especially, like I said, the East with only 3 teams above 500, they know how to take advantage.
You got my vote for Defense Player of the Year so far, Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, Roy Hibbert, you're playing great.
You got to keep Georgetown.
Right. Shout out Roy Hibbert. Paul George, you're playing great. Number 2, San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
The ageless wonders.
When will they go away?
They'll never go away.
Okay.
It's all right. They'll never go away. They're always going to be there. And even at the very last leg, I can't see those guys scoring any less than 30 a game between the big 3, and that's at the very end of their careers, as long as Popovich is there. But one bright spot we always talk about, we always love a lot. I heart you a lot right here, especially for Marcus. Kawhi Leonard. This guy is starting to come out to be one of the most improved players for a no-name guy. He's really starting to show his name, and he can really come in every night and rebound, pass the ball, get good shots, defend. So take a charge. So Kawhi Leonard, you're probably the MVP of that team so far with this nice 13-1 start that you're having, even though people might not be talking about you as much compared to Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili. So shout out to you. Number 3, our hometown Portland Trailblazers.
Who?
Portland Trailblazers.
That's right. You said it right.
We're here. We finally arrived. We're 13-2, 11-game win streak. We're really hot right now, and obviously it stems to Aldridge, right, and Lillard, and you can say Stotts is making the good calls. Shout out to obviously Stotts, coaching them up right now. But the keys right now are Mo Williams off the bench, playing great, Nicholas Batum and Wesley Matthews. But the key, I think, right now, we have to shout out Neil O'Shea.
Okay.
Right, he's making the right moves and bringing the Blazers in this position. So shout out to the Blazers, 13-2. We got the Phoenix Suns tonight on the road. It's going to be a tough one, but I think if we play, tough defense, we should be able to get over 100 and find a W. Number 4, the team that's climbing up and pretty soon is going to be number 1, believe it or not, the Miami Heat. You already know, right? LeBron James and company, last 7 games, 27 points. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's about what you expect from LeBron, but he's shooting 64%. Can you shoot any better? I mean, this guy is amazing. We're talking above Michael Jordan status.
SMH, man, LeBron. SMH.
Just amazing play, and I don't see him slowing down. They're 11-3, and pretty soon, like we were talking about last week, it's going to be maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks, a month, but they're going to have a huge run. Probably 10 to 20 games in a row. And they're going to obviously move up to first and stay there. So shout out to the Miami Heat. And then number 5, I had a couple teams I was kind of leaning towards, but I had to really think about it, and I got to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right. Clippers are really close, but I think the Thunder 9-3. You have Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka. That's one of the best top 3s, and if you look at their stats, they are probably the top best 3 together, a trio, based on stats so far. They're playing great. They're starting to gel. They do need some supporting cast, but Scotty Brooks is coaching them up, and they did beat the Clippers last week, so that's why I give them that little edge over the Clippers, who's also playing very well with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. So that's our NBA Power Rankings top 5. Do you have any shout-outs for any NBA players?
I want to give a shout-out. The NBA players have spoken. The players of the week are LaMarcus Aldridge, led the Blazers to a 4-0 start, and for the West, and for the East, my man John Wall. Keep it up out there, John Wall. You can hit me up on Twitter, MarcusHill_NWSF.
And Ryan_NWSF.
Holla at us on Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
Thanks to all our sponsors. We want to shout you out. Appreciate it.
All right. Shout out to my man Banner Bob for the banner in the background. Hit him up at designshack.net. Also, holla at us on Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. Happy Thanksgiving, man, to everybody out there.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Marcus, this Orion.
Together we're Northwest Sports Fanatics.